Hey everybody, welcome to Scribbles with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Rector. You guys can check out my website at jonathanrector.com. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at artbyjar. I will say right away. The topic of the show is how to guide your eye through a comic page. But I'm trying to do it on a computer so I can show you easily as opposed to just drawing it. But I think my computer is having a heart attack, so I'm going to try to get through this and hopefully it won't be too jumpy or jittery. So let me just open up an example that I have open up here in the background. This is for a project that I've already done that I've talked to death about. Is the standard, and these are some of the thumbnails that I submitted to the editor and the writer. Okay, so this would be one page. Here would be another page, and all that stuff. What I like to do initially is do a bunch of these little rectangles which represent your comic page with your guidelines. But I like to do it. Usually, I like to do it a couple times to try to flesh out a page, and then I put together this sort of thing to email to the client. But the reason I do this a couple times is to try different shots, try different angles, stuff like that. But what we're trying to look at is how to guide your eye. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit more on this one. I know it's going to be a little rough, and I apologize for that. I'm just going to make a new layer. We're going to get a nice color, nice red. That way we can see it. See how it comes across. Yeah, it's going to be all jaggedy as heck. But in this image, what we have is right here in the foreground, this main bad guy is attacking our hero, which is right here. That's our hero. And we have three panels staggered on the right. And I'll get into what I had over there. Here we have the main hero attacking the villain's gun that he's been shooting with. Then we have another shot of a statue of the background that they're fighting in, and then a realization shot of the main character as he looks up at that statue. Okay. So how do we get the motion across on the page? Well, anybody that's read any comic books in the last forever, or even when you read, especially in North America, when you read from left to right, that's essentially what you want to be able to get done. You don't necessarily want to have your comic go from here to here to here. That's not bad. It's just not the best of what you want to do. What you'd like to do is essentially when somebody turns the page, they start about here, usually around the top left around there. Okay, so they're going to start about here, and then what you want them to do essentially, whoops, sorry about that. Essentially, you want them to get to here. Okay. And you want them, draw a little arrow, you want them to get off the page so that they go to the next page, rinse, repeat, and it starts over. But unless you're doing a complete one-page splash where it's just like a pinup, you have many panels around the page. So usually it'll look something like this. And let me just quickly do the path that I kind of did, and I'll show you. There's some things here that I didn't really do, but in the final image, I tightened this up just to try to get it across. Okay, so we start here. What I had here was I had the main villain, okay, and he's looking here at the main character, okay. So right away, I made the villain the primary guy in the image, okay. So he's nice and big right here, okay. So he's hopefully the first thing that people will see. I made the stuff that he's shooting out of his gun also point at the hero, okay. So the line that you're like, how do I describe this? Not only are you trying to get the people to go from the top left or the top left to the bottom right of a comic page, you're also trying to get that to work for you in a panel itself. You can't always do that, but that's one of the best things that we can try to abuse, and we should all really be looking for it and to use it. And so by using that thought, following this path, I need people to get up to these three panels up here, okay? So by having the main bad guy shooting his, I think it was a lard gun, hot lard this way, and I added some splashes that kind of go like this. Okay, so hopefully the person's eye, they'll see this big black figure, it'll go over to this guy's arm, and the splash will kind of bring it up to this. And all these are people in the audience that are watching this, and they start to get really excited. Yeah. And it's just faces, okay? But it's also going straight down, which will lead you to the second panel, okay? And hopefully you'll see this character here, and he's reaching across. Okay, he's reaching across. So if your eyes have come down straight down from those faces, they reach across and they see what's going on. But it also brings you back down to this. Okay, and once we have the statue guy, he's looking over here, and this panel right here, we're supposed to have the guy looking back up at the statue. However, that doesn't really get us off the page too well, so what I like to do usually, and I do this quite a bit in my artwork, is I'll add like a background shadow. So as you can see, this back shadow back here, it's kind of angular, it starts off here and then it goes off there. So that might be an extra way for the eye to move, okay? I'm kind of looking at my time. I don't think I'm going to have time to give you a live example. It's not in this one, so let me just close these so I get some resources available here. Hopefully make it a little smoother. Okay, so that's the main thing for the panels. However, there's another trick that we abuse and we should abuse. Again, our let me just clean this up. Our word balloons. Starting out my language there. New layer, please. There we go. So I indicated we got a balloon here, got a balloon there, balloon here, balloon, balloon. Whoops. Balloon. Okay. So again, as you follow this, it still starts on the top left and it goes down to here, and the curve's still coming up, and hopefully it gets back down here. Granted, in panels you read left to right, so this right here would be the first panel they would read, but in this situation they're not having a conversation back and forth, so if the reader did come down and read what the hero was saying right here, and then went to see what the villain was saying, it doesn't really get you out of the story too much. But you definitely want to play, when you're reading your script, you definitely want to see how the scripts are playing, and how, who's saying what first. If the villain is the first guy that speaks, he should be on the left, and whoever's speaking next should be on the right. It should flow like that. You never want the balloons to cross. Let's just try another page here. This one's heavy shadows, okay? Just adjust the size real quick. And it looks like I've probably got about 3 minutes left, so I'll try to do this really quick. Again, I apologize for this, the way that the camera, my computer's running and just chugging. Okay, so we're going to start here again, okay? And we want to get to this panel and get out. That's the general path, gesture line, if you want to, of this page, okay? So if you can remember that. So how are we going to do this? Well, here we have, again, these shadows that I like to do, and I like to play with shadows quite a bit, okay? The shadows up top, the lights over here on the left, but the shadows all go to the middle. They all go to here, okay? So you're going to see the white first, and then you're going to get drawn to the darkness, okay? In your second panel, I have it again, but what I've done is, we have the arm coming out, which still leads your eyes off the page, but the door hopefully brings you down here, and the shadows also help you bring down here. I'm hoping. And this doesn't always win, and most people, when they look at a comic page, they probably wouldn't even notice it, which is fine. But it's just something you want to think about yourself, okay? So hopefully everything's coming down to this third panel here. And if they come here, they could see this guy first, our hero, which is exactly what I want them to do, okay? I want them to see the hero the whole time, and he's the one that's walking through this page. But then I'm hoping they'll look over here again and they'll see this guy in the shadows, He's the only thing that's black from a white background, and everything else is blacked in this page. So I'm hoping they'll see the door open, they'll go down to this character, and then they'll see this evil guy in the shadows. And then naturally the bad guy goes and grabs the good guy. So you can see his arm right there, and it's getting you off the page. If the eye carries down over his body, that's fine. It's still the bottom right. It's still going to get them to turn the page. But the motion of this panel I'm trying to get is going this way. That's the panel we want. We want it to move. We want it to move like that. And I'll do another video probably in the future to touch up on this, but I thought it'd be good to give some examples on work I've already done. So you guys can see where I was coming from when I did it, and I realize I'm just using the thumbs and the gestures, and I'll possibly in the next video I'll go into doing like the actual finished pencils and see if I actually succeeded or if I failed. But in the meantime, I hope that helped you guys and get you thinking a little bit more when you're doing your own comics, and how to do your pacing and how to get your eye going from the left to the right, or just how to get the person's eye to go through the page, and then also to carry that into the panels as well. So again, you guys can check out my work at jonathanrector.com. Feel free to add me on Twitter at ArtByJar, and I'm on DeviantArt and Facebook and all that other stuff. You guys can find all that good stuff on my site. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll check you next week. And I got a little surprise of a little series I'm going to start next week as well, and hopefully you guys get a little jazzed about that. Okay, thanks again, and you guys have a great day. Bye.